Hey YouTube, servers are currently not letting us queue up for games. So I figured for the video today, I would just show you what I'm working with for each faction. I have one deck built for every faction, and usually trying to use some of the new cards, and we'll jump right into this first one. I got this Swarm Firesworn deck, taking advantage of the new Syndicate Evolving card, as well as Fallen Knight and Ulrich. The main problem that I could see this deck having is that it might play into a little too much of everything. Because you're going wide, you're already playing into stuff like Lacerate, you're playing into like wide Ignis, but you're also playing into tall removal with the Fallen Knights and Eternal Fire Priests. Normally, you want to either go wide or go tall, and like people who have the wrong tech cards for you are going to have worse decks against you than they otherwise would. I'm not sure the amount of points that you get from Fallen Knight and Eternal Fire Disciple, or Eternal Fire Priest, make it worth it, but yeah. We got Diaz Area, we got Bone Talisman, we're going wide. We're going to try this out at some point in the next week. As I was saying, servers are having some issues. Next up, I have this Warriors Skellig midrange deck. This is inspired from Green Knight's deck from the Open that played a midrange deck with the discard package. That deck already was pretty light on neutrals. I'm not sure if it had any, but by cutting Decree, it's pretty easy to get Devotion for your Herald. And Herald's just like a good short round finisher gold card, right? So the Form 3 on Herald, Veil, deploy, play a Bronze Warrior from your graveyard. Whenever you play a Warrior, damage an enemy unit by 1, ignoring its armor. So it immediately plays for 7 plus a res, because you immediately get this engine proc off of the Warrior that you're bringing back from your graveyard. And our bronzes are a little weird. I'm not exactly sure which ones I want to play. I have a 1 of Warrior, a 1 of Invader, a 1 of On-Crate Raiders, and I'm sure these numbers are going to change as I tinker around with this deck and play it a bit. I also have the Singleton Greatsword in order to pair with Morkvarg, Wild Boar of the Sea to make getting last play a big deal. I have a Single Blood Eagle, the new Skellig Echo card, as a way to thin the deck to make sure that I have these in my graveyard so that I can res them with Herald on Crate. Another card that was a consideration for this deck, after they made this change to On-Crate Warrior, I think War of the Clans might actually be a real card if you're playing Devotion Skellige. Basically, it's a 6 provision card when you have Warrior in your graveyard that puts a 3-point body in play and deals 3 then 2, or like 5 damage to one target, which is pretty good rate for a 6 provision card. I could definitely see like trimming this Tershak Invader or like trimming this Raiders, playing a War of Clans, maybe even just like playing 2 Invaders, 2 Warriors as my 4 provision package in order to fit in like War of the Clans more reliably alongside Herald. Come on. Next up, I was not as sure exactly how to build this one. After going into this expansion, I thought Eithne with Symbiosis. Eithne is the new Squirtle Evolving card. In Form 3, if you have Devotion, she has Veil Symbiosis and makes 2 Symbiosis engines. So it's an 11 provision card that immediately puts 3 engines in play, and you have a leader that immediately plays a nature card. So you get to play 3 engines, immediately proc them for 11p, but you have to play Devotion, which, when you want to be playing Gourd, isn't actually the easiest thing. Shaping Nature's a pretty mediocre card, Circle of Life's a pretty bad card, but you need to play them in order to have enough specials for your Gourd. Currently, with this current configuration, we have Phyrexinet, a Yarpen Zegrin. I'm not playing Oak Critters, because I think Miner just plays for 8, or Oak Critters plays for 7. Miner on either Berserker or Miner on Yarpen gets more value than Oak Critters does. And I'm not sure how else I would move the provisions around. I have the Donka here as a way to take advantage of tactical advantage on blue. You can go turn 1 Donka TA. It has Veil, so it can't get poisoned. It doesn't get moved like Hawker Smuggler does. And Blue Coin Hawker Smuggler is pretty strong when it goes unanswered. I've got a Singleton Sage, and yeah, it's pretty similar to the Gourd deck. It loses Hall removal because it loses Heatwave. It loses the Johnny from Red James list. And let me just take a quick look what else it loses. And it loses Avalok and Triss. But like Triss for Force Protector is a pretty easy swap. Avaloc, you get Eithne instead. The big thing that you're losing is you're losing Tar removal. But yeah, that's that list. Next, for NR, I have this NR Swarm deck. Instead of playing Germain like the Swarm deck did in the past, I have Amphibious Assault, Natalis, and smoke them out. Natalis is a way to get Amphibious Assault out of your deck in round 1. Amphibious Assault, or Natalis also pulls smoke them out in order to go wide. And notably, this goes wide with units that are already boosted, so your Lyrian Scythemen are immediately better, your Visigored is immediately better. And Natalis, I'm pretty sure, is just a card that you want to be playing anyway in order to take advantage of Amphibious Assault. I think this deck takes advantage of Assault a little bit better than the normal mid-range decks, because Lyrian Scytheman is so good in this deck to begin with. This card regularly plays for 10 plus points, and playing Assault to pull out a card that is already 10 plus points and getting an additional 5 on it is kind of insane. But yeah, pretty similar to the deck from last season. I wasn't able to fit in Triss, which seems a little sketchy, but this is just my starting point. And then, I think lastly, yeah, there's two more. Next up, we have this Arrakis Swarm deck that plays the new Ethereal. I think this is one of the best cards in the expansion, specifically for Arrakis Swarm and for Gurnikora. The leaders that are very easily able to put 1-point units in play that you can just keep consuming. I think the easiest parallel to Ethereal is Sol from back, current Sol too. But it's so easy to make online, especially like with the old Hidden Cache leader, where you just always have Sol online and ticking. It's 3 points per turn with 1-point tokens or with Gurney fruits that keep dying. And it's a lot harder to kill than Sol too. You can't just like double poison Ethereal, because if you kill one Ethereal, the one that's behind it keeps ticking. You can lock it, but if you lock it, then I have like Barghest to consume it to re-enable the one to its left. And yeah, in general, just like a super powerful, immediately plays for 7 for 8, gets +3 per turn. Card is very powerful. I'm not sure about this exact configuration. Like, we're currently playing Corinthier with only a single good target for it. I was playing a game with a Plague Maiden to have an additional consume target, but that wasn't working so hot. Yeah, this is my starting point for this. And then lastly, and probably most memey of the bunch, I have this Spies deck, Tactical Decision, playing Operator for Seditious Aristocrats and Mage Torturer. So the idea here is it's like the old All-In Assimilate deck, where you give your opponent this card that you want to make a bunch of copies of, and then you keep copying it with either Brothans for Informant, or Vigo for Informant, or just like Informants. You kill the Informants with Coup de Grace, you res the Informants with Remedy, and you do this multiple rounds with Renew. I think the main upside, like the big benefit that you get for playing Seditious Aristocrats over just like a regular Assimilate engine, is that Seditious Aristocrats keep being good throughout the round. Where normally when you're playing Assimilate, you eventually run out of reasons to want to copy the Assimilate engine that you gave them. Like, you only have like 2 Assimilate procs left, but you still have Informants to play. And your Informant would only, what's the card called? The Assimilate engine would only grow an additional like 2 or 3 procs. This way, you always have a bunch of spies on the opponent's board, so every aristocrat that you play is immediately boosting itself to like 7 or 8 points. Ideally more, but I'm not entirely sure how big they're going to get, because we are like sort of killing them as we go. We are playing coup. Not sure about this one. If we're going to be filling opponents' rows with spies, I think this is going to be the deck that does it most efficiently. You have Operator, you play a bunch of ways to make a bunch of spies. You have optional removal, like you don't have to kill an Informant with this. You can just use it to like copy one of the opponent's cards if you don't want to remove a unit from their board. You have Usurper to put more units on their board. And yeah, it's like Plan A, you Operator, play a bunch of points. Plan B, fill their rows and make them discard their last few cards. Yeah, these are the 6 decks, 1 for each faction, that I am going to start with the season. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.